Someone told me that my life is like a life of hitchhiking. I don't remember the reason why he said that. But he is a classmate from my high school day, but perhaps in the 40 or 50-year reunion, I was reflecting what I have done here and there, moving around country to country or work to work. He felt that, that's right, he and I had the experience of hitchhiking. And he learned how beneficial that was, because he get to see different way of life, different people, their view of the world. So it's kind of like not looking at the world from the way you are, but from totally different viewpoint, from total stranger. But you're sitting together in the truck usually. So you have time to talk and you can relate to their life as much as they may appreciate. And you're the student or college student, high school students talking and thinking. It's always interesting. So in fact, I have done hitchhiking in New Zealand recently too. If I have a way to hitchhike, it may sometimes take 30 minutes, 40 minutes to wait or more if you're not lucky. But there's also always some kind of a feeling of sharing. The person who would stop often has the open-mindedness and curiosity. So we have interesting conversation. I'm a curious guy to ask lots of questions. I think that may be also stimulating for them to respond. So this may become my habit, as my friend told me, that my life has been a life of hitchhike. From entering to business school, from Japan to US, from the company A to B and C, and starting my own, and traveling more around the world, writing books and doing the video, fishing, surfing, friends. One reason why I thought to use this as a theme for my recollection and to capture some wisdom out of it is that there's a sense of liberation. That's number one. You don't have your destiny on your own. You feel vulnerable, but you have freedom, like homeless. But you have some destination, some idea, and you have time to appreciate and explore, meeting people, looking at different scenery, learning life's experience, expanding the experience base. There are multiple benefits from hitchhiking. I did in the US too. I was a bit concerned about it, but up north nearby Seattle, I did that. I even did the hitchhike on the sailboat too. So the point is that in the US may not be the right place to do it. But the funny thing is that my son and I did the hitchhike in Japan when he was 16, or maybe even before that. We went to Kyoto, night bus, and then I think we started the hitchhike from there to go south. And he said, "Dad, don't do it. I don't believe you can." I was at the crossroad with the traffic light. Usually it car stop every now and then. I talked to the guy. He said, "No, I'm not going there, going that way." So he went. But after a while, the interesting thing is that he came back U-turn a few minutes later. "I'm not going that way, but I can take you to this area." And my son was surprised. He took me somewhere, even possibly stopped at certain location for a short sightseeing tour for us. Maybe it's not so common in Japan these days, but that's kind of like a beside the point, but also a nature of the trip, to the point that my son started to do hitchhiking in Europe with his friend. That's another story. So there's something about hitchhiking, and there's a relationship to living life with carefree spirit, with some sense of a trust, belief, things gonna happen. Optimism, not the negative mindset. In this age, I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do. But as my friend told me, I see that my life moved on from this school to that school, or this location to that location, and this. I'm 74. Why I'm talking about hitchhiking? I know I needed to think about it because I don't know my future. I have a place in New Zealand, in California, and a place I may stay again in Japan. My relationship with the partner is unknown. My life situation is unknown. I'm healthy, but I started to think ahead what's going to be the case for me if I'm not sure about where I am in future. And I start to look around, actually. That's the trigger, thinking of apartment nearby. So I have to think through all the finance and some property I may have to sell it or do something about it. And I thought, that's not so interesting. I don't want to lose my free-spirited nature like a kid, because that's the waku-waku sense that I was talking in the other video, sense of aliveness, just like a kid, 74-year-old kid. I want to be an eternal kid, in a way. But I have the brain to think, what if, and when this happens, then what? I have to think about the will. I haven't done it. Well, I did some part in New Zealand, but I haven't done it in the US. So, social burden. We need to do it. I need to do it. So the hitchhiking life of mine is shifting. Somehow I managed to get here. No guarantee into the future. I'm a little bit, or maybe more than a little bit concerned. But I guess the point here is that at the end, life could be still like a hitchhike. This relationship to this relationship, this location to that location, all by accident. We may want to hang on to something and get settled there, but sometimes the carpet goes away underneath. Or some natural event, nature's event, whatever can happen. Nothing is guaranteed. So I may be revisiting my young days' free-spiritedness, liberated sense, and to live like that. In fact, as I talk, which happens often, but I remember one saying of Zen monk. I don't know if I mentioned this in one of the other videos, but on the way back, probably from New Zealand, or in the trip, I was pretty much living in the mountain, from the river A to B to C, fly fishing, trout, catching and releasing, catching and eating, pick up the food and go back into the mountain. I have usually one or two Zen books, and this is the story of the Zen monk toward his end of his life. He had only a little bit of money, so he dug up a hole and put himself in and can die there, presumably. And then he asked someone, could you take care of putting the dirt on me when I die and dead down there? That was the story. I was so impressed. I thought that maybe 15, 20 years ago. I still remember that sense. I don't know if I want to be in a situation like that, but that's a good spirit of being. I may be trying to convince myself. But be free-spirited. Beautiful. Hitchhike. Many memories. Liberation. Waiting here and there, but good memories. No bad memories. I may be helped by someone, more, not just in the hitchhike and the car, but the relationship too. In the work relationship. Sounds like a Zen life. Not to burden anyone, but share the moment to make the most of it. And when time comes, you move on. Destination, unknown. On one end, it's a free-spirited way, like a eternal kid. On the other end, it's certain responsibility to not cause trouble to others. I'll make sure, try to revisit this, possibly this video, for my own sake. That I have some kind of a gyroscope and some kind of a way of living that fit to my personality, which doesn't cause trouble to others, but hopefully make the best for everyone, at least surrounding me, not causing the trouble.